Hello, classmates and Professor Gurman. My name is Nathan Cross, and I grew up in a small beach town in Orange County called Laguna Beach, where I learned to surf and play all kinds of sports. But it's also where I found my passion for music. Music was a way for me to communicate emotion and tradition. My parents are both musicians, my younger brothers are both musicians, and when I've graduated high school, I went to music school. But I actually left music school early because I already got a job on a Carnival cruise liner playing in the orchestra. I played that job for a while, and then I came back to Orange County and taught private lessons and played in many, many bands and toured the world. My main instruments were bass, my mother's a bass player, and guitar, my father's guitar player. Which brings me to my object. This may seem like a normal acoustic guitar, but it is actually not a normal acoustic guitar. This guitar actually has an origin story. You see, when my dad was growing up, he had a few best friends, and one of them ended up becoming a world renowned mandolin builder. Before his prominence, he came to my dad and he said, "Help me design the perfect acoustic guitar." So he and my dad got together and started designing, and then the friend built the guitar and brought it to my dad, and he said, "Here you go." My dad played it and said, "You know what? This is the perfect acoustic guitar. The only problem is I don't have any money to pay for it." Well, my dad was a struggling musician and just starting out. And the problem is the friend of his would have given it to him, except he was a struggling instrument builder just getting started out. Well, it turns out another one of my dad's friends did have the money. So he purchased the guitar and then turned around and gifted it to my dad. My dad then went on to play many, many performances with this guitar all over the world. When I became good enough at playing bass, me and my dad played together, and he played this guitar in hundreds of performances. My dad always meant to pass this guitar down to me. And so a few years ago, he did so while still alive, so he could actually watch me enjoy the guitar. So this guitar, it means a lot to me, but this guitar is also tradition because my dad passed it down to me, and I'm going to pass it down to my son who also plays music. Now, music is a way to communicate emotion and many other things, of course. It communicates things like happy or sad or ominous or frightening or soothing or chaotic or patriotic. Really anything that life has to throw at us. Now, music will always be a part of my life. I gave up music as a profession when my son was born 16 years ago, and I started working with a company that managed workers' compensation medical practices. But music was still with me. Then I moved up to the North Coast with my kids and worked with a not for profit that brought high speed internet to rural communities, and music was still with me. And now, today, living in Ukiah, working in the emergency department and going back to school to become a registered nurse, music is still with me. Music will always be with me because it's a way for me to communicate emotion and to learn tradition and cultural tradition and pass it on to others. Thank you very much.